Govinda's flute. And when other creatures see them from the hilltops, they all become stunned. धन्यास्मूढगतयो अपि हरिण्ययेता यानन्दनन्दनमुपात विचित्रवेषम् आकर्ण्य वेणुरणितं सह कृष्णसारा पूजां ददुर्विरचितां प्रणयावलोकै. Blessed are all these foolish deer, because they have approached Maharaja Nanda's son, who is gorgeously dressed and is playing on his flute. Indeed, both the doe and the bucks worship the Lord with looks of love and affection. Krishnam niriksha vanitotsavarupashilam shrutva cha tatpanitavenu viviktageetam devyo vimanagataya smaranunasara Brashyat prasuna kabara mumuhurvinivyaha. Krishna's beauty and character create a festival for all women. Indeed, when the demigod's wives, flying in airplanes with their husbands, catch sight of him and hear his resonant flute song, their hearts are shaken by Cupid, and they become so bewildered that the flowers fall out of their hair and their belts loosen. Thank you, Mataji. Now
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. I welcome all people. Okay.
Excuse me, Mataji, can I make a request, please? Lalita Priya Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
That Barha Pidam, that verse, if you can recite, that would be great, you know.
And the fifth verse.
The fifth verse.
No, Barha Pidam, that's famous verse in a Vayam Geetam.
Yes, it is in the fifth verse. Fifth 5.
Oh, we have only, okay.
I don't know why first 5 verses are missing. I don't know.
Prabhuji, I thought Venu Geetam is starting from this verse. I'll just display it. Just once.
It's the whole starts from verse 1 onwards, you know. Okay, go ahead. No, it's fifth verse, actually.
Yes, Prabhuji. I will get that. I'm getting it, Prabhuji.
Or Prabhuji is when he's showing the PowerPoints, you'll see the fifth verse there.
Yes, Prabhuji.
But you can recite there later then.
Yes, Prabhuji.
There's in one of my slides, that verse is there.
Yes, Prabhuji. I'll recite that. Now we'll do the Nityananda Ashtakam, then by the time Mataji finds it, and then I'll recite that also. Sharachandra-bhrantim spuradamalakantim gajagatim harit-premonmattam dhrita-paramasatvam smitamukam sada Gurnanetram Karakalitavetram Kalibidam Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadi Rasanam Agaram Swajanagana Sarvasvamatulam Tadiyaika Prana Pramita Vasudha Janavapatim Sada Premunmadam Paramaviditam Mandamanasam Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadi Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadi Sachi Sunu Preshtam Nikila Jagadeshtam Sukhamayam Kalau Majjat Jivo Dharanakarano Damakarunam Hare Rakyanadva Bhavajalati Garvo Natiharam Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadi Bhaje Nityanandam Bhajanatarukanndam Niravadi अये भ्रातॄणां खलु कलुषिनं किं नु भविता ततः प्रायश्चित्तं रचय यदनय सतयि मे व्रजन्ति त्वमेत्तं सग भगवत मन्त्रयति यो भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि यथेष्टं मृभ्रात कुरु हरिहरि ध्वनमनिशम् ततो वसंसाराम्बुदितरनदयो मयि लगेत् इदं बाहुस्फोटैरटति रटयन् यः प्रतिगृहम् भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि बलात् संसराम्बो निधिहरणकुम्भोद्भवमहो सतं श्रेयसिन्धूनतिकुमुदबन्धुं समुदितं कलश्रेणिस्फूर्जित्तिमिरहरसूर्यप्रभमहम् भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि नटन्तं गायन्तं हरि अनुवदन्तं पतिपति व्रजन्तं पश्यन्तं स्वमपि न दयन्तं जनगणं प्रकुर्वन्तं सन्तं सकरुणदृगन्तं प्रकलनात् भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि सुबिभ्राणं भ्रातु करसरसिजं कोमलतरं मितो वक्त्रलोकोच्चलितपरमानन्दहृदयम् भ्रमन्तं माधुर्यैरहमदन्यन्तं पुरजना भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि भजे नित्यानन्दं भजनतरुकन्दं निरवधि रसनमादारं रसिकवरसद्वैष्णवधनं रसागारं सारं पतिततटितारं स्मरणतः परं नित्यानन्दाष्टकमिदमपूर्वं पठति यत् तदाङ्घ्रिद्वन्द्वाब्जं स्फुरतु नितरं तस्य हृदये तदाङ्घ्रिद्वन्द्वाब्जं स्फुरतु नितरं तस्य हृदये श्री नित्यानंदोष्टकम की जय श्री नित्यानंद प्रभु की जय I'll read the translation. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, whose bright face mocks the full autumn moon, whose pure complexion glistens, whose gait is like that of a maddened elephant, who is always intoxicated in Krishna Prema, who embodies pure spiritual energy, whose face holds a gentle smile, whose eyes are always rolling due to his absorption in Krishna Prema, whose lotus hand holds a glowing staff, and who, by the performance of Nama Sankirtana, pierces the influence of Kali Yuga. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, who is the mainstay of all the rasas, who is everything to his devotees, who is beyond compare, who is the master of both Vasudha and Janava Devi, who consider him more dear than their own lives, who is always maddened in Krishna Prema, and who is unknown only to those of meager intelligence. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, who is very dear to Sri Shakti Nandana, who is worshipped by the entire universe, who is the embodiment of happiness, who possesses infinite mercy for delivering the souls who are drowning in the age of Kali, and who, by the performance of Sri Harinam Sankirtan, thwarts the progressing false pride of the ocean of repeated birth and death. I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, who said to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, "Hey brother Gauranga, what will be the destination of the sinful souls of Kali Yuga, and how will they be redeemed? Please devise a method by which they will easily attain you." I perpetually worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, who wandered around Bengal and approaching the door of each and every home, threw open his arms and exclaimed, "Oh brothers, all of you should eternally perform Sri Harinam Sankirtana together. By doing so, I will take the responsibility to deliver you all from the ocean of material existence." I eternally worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, who is the Agastya Muni who forcibly swallows the ocean of repeated birth and death, who is a rising full moon which increases the ocean of the saintly person's welfare, and who is a sun which dissipates the darkness of ignorance cast by the various classes of miscreants. I eternally worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the tree of King Krishna Bhakti, who wandered on every path in Bengal, dancing, singing, and calling out, "Hari Bol, Hari Bol," and who lovingly bestowed merciful sidelong glances upon those who were not compassionate to even their own selves. I eternally worship Sri Nityananda Prabhu, the root of the Krishna Bhakti tree, who held the supremely soft lotus hand of his brother Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, whose heart became filled with the highest bliss when the two brothers gazed into each other's faces, and who wandered here and there, delighting the townspeople with his sweetness. May Sri Nityananda Prabhu place his lotus feet in the heart of one who lovingly recites this unprecedented Nityananda Ashtaka, which is the reservoir of rasa, the greatest treasure of the most exalted of Rasika Vaishnavas, and the storehouse of the essence of Bhakti Rasa. This Ashtaka is sung in the melody known as Shikarini. Srila Vrindavan Chakravarti Thakur ki jai. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Prabhuji, you're waiting for the Venugit, the 5th verse, Prabhuji?
Okay.
Do you want me to show the Prabhuji?
Yes.
Yeah, there it is. There it is. It's a very beautiful verse. In fact, Sukdev Goswami, Vyasdevi's father said these particular words to one of his disciples recite, and that's why he got him back. He was in the forest,
Yes, Prabhuji. Barhapidam Natavaravapu Karnayo Karnikaram Vibradvasa Kanaka Kapisham Vaijayanti Chamala Randran Venu Radara Sudaya Purayan Gopa Vrindair Vrindaranyam Swapadaramanam Pravishat Gita Kirti Vrindaranyam Swapadaramanam Pravishat Gita Kirti. Translation: wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnikara flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vaijayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavana, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glory. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you, Samta Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji, for reminding us of this verse. It's a beautiful verse.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you.
Sorry for not reciting it in the initial recitation.
No, it's okay. It's wonderful, beautiful verse. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Welcome all the devotees to today's session. We'll start straight away with the invocation prayers. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवाञ्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं तो जीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजन सहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगन ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितं च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वांछा कल्पतरुभ्य च कृपा सिंधुभ्य च पतितानां पावनेभ्य वैष्णवेभ्य नमो नमः. Now we will offer our obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the six Goswamis of Vrindavana. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvisya Namah. O most munificent incarnation, you are Krishna himself appearing as Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have assumed the golden color of Srimati Radharani and you are widely distributing pure love of Krishna. We offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Krishna Varnam Tisa Krishnam Sangopang Astraparsadam Yagye Sankirtana Praye Yajanti Sumedasa. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the names of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. नाना शास्त्र विचारण के निपुणौ सद्धर्म संस्थापको लोकानां हितकारिणौ त्रिभुवने मान्य शरण्य करो राधा कृष्ण पदारविंद भजनान आनंदेन मत्तालिको वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्रीजीव गोपालको. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, namely Rupa Goswami, Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Dasa Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Bhatta Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami and Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami, who are very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the three worlds and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in the transcendental loving service of the divine couple Sri Radha and Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskritya, Naram Chaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayam Udirayat, Nastya Prayesu Avadresu, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Bhagavati Uttama Sloke, Bhaktir Bhavati Naishriki, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Now, with this, I again welcome all the devotees to the today's session. Now, today we will be studying lesson 54. But before that, let us have the recap.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. I'll share the screen for recap. So last week, day 2, we completed a very elaborate lesson 53, which described the rainy and autumn season in Vrindavan. It starts off when the cowherd boys describe the glorious deeds of Krishna Balram to the Rajvasis, followed by the description of monsoon season, which is for the amusement of Lord Krishna, and followed by the description of autumn season, which Sukhdev Goswami explains in metaphorical terms. We start with slide 2 over here. So boys narrate the glorious acts of the killing of Pralambasura and the rescue of how Krishna rescued them from the forest fire. They explained this to the elderly women like Yashoda, mother, as they had very intense love for Krishna Balram. So these two acts were described by the cowherd boys. My question is, which act was described first and why? Which act was described first and why?
May
Yes, Rajkumari.
the incident of fire was explained first because they all were very in trouble and they saved, Krishna saved them. So,
Correct. Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So, although the killing of Pralambasura took place first, the boys described the swallowing of forest fire first to the Vrajvasis because it involved because it was a personal rescue of the boys and it was a great act. So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Shukdev Goswami further describes the beauty of monsoon and autumn season in metaphorical terms to enhance the Lord's pastimes. We come to verse 2. Now, on hearing Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram's glorious deed, Vrajvasis thought that some exalted demigods have appeared among them. Which great demigods they thought that due to their devotional sentiments, they thought they have come. Although devas cannot be born as jivas. What did the Brajvasis think that Krishna Balram are? Which demigods are they?
Vishnu and Shiva. Vishnu and Shiva.
Vishnu and Shiva. And why they did not think of Lord Krishna Balram as God? Why they thought of them as demigods?
due to Vatsalya.
Yes, due to their very strong love for them, they did not think of them as God. They thought of them as demigods. Let's come to slide 3. Now comes the monsoon season. It sustains all the living beings. The sky rumbled with thunder and lightning flashed the horizons. Sridhar Swami comments that monsoon revives all living beings with new life, and the horizon is shining with lightning and thunder, which agitates the sky. Sanatan Goswami and Jiva Goswami comment that the beauty of Vrindavan in monsoon and autumn is meant for Krishna's pastimes as it sets a stage for the Ras Leela. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, everything that was dried up gets new life in monsoon. The sun, moon become very bright and the sky is agitated. Let's see verse 4. The sky is covered by dark blue clouds with thunder and lightning. It's like the spirit soul which is covered by the 3 modes of material nature. My question is, which aspect of the sky is compared to which guna? In this verse, which aspect of the sky is compared to which guna?
Lightning is described as a sattvagun and thunder as a rajogun, and that third is tamogun. Third was
Clouds is tamogun.
clouds.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. So let us now proceed to so here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also comments that a conditioned soul's original pure nature is very dimly reflected through these material gunas. We come to slide 4, where 5 and 6 verses are covered. So before the monsoon, the sun was consuming the earth's wealth. It was consuming the earth's wealth in the form of water. And now in monsoon time is the right time to give back this accumulated wealth. So to what is this sun's taking up earth's wealth compared to? How does, what analogy is used here?
Sun is compared with a king.
Correct.
Just like, yeah.
Yeah, continue, Mataji. Just like
sun in the hot sun, the earth become dry, and then again in monsoon it comes as a rain.
So the sun, it evaporates the earth's wealth of water. It resembles like a king collecting taxes. And the sun
Yes,
is compared to the king
like
because
yeah.
it takes and gives water just like a king takes taxes and returns the benefits to the tax-paying citizens. So this was verse 5. Let's see verse 6. So the clouds are like merciful persons because they are agitated
Sorry,
by
Mataji, you're showing the slide number 5 instead of 4.
So the clouds are like merciful persons because they are agitated by winds. Kind-hearted persons, they release this water. So the clouds are kind-hearted persons. And because they see the misery of others, like Ranti Deva, he sacrificed his life for others. Now let us see slide 5, verse 7. So earth was parched by the sun's heat when it got nourished by rains, and is just like is just like a tapasvi who is enduring austerities for material objective. This person again blooms and he gains the results for his hard work. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur here comments that a devotee should strive for the highest goal and austerities should be done for realizing the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Let us see verse 8. So in monsoon, the evening twilight, the darkness makes the glowworms to shine, but not the stars. Just like in Kali Yuga, the true Vedic knowledge is overshadowed by the atheistic doctrines. Let us see the following slide 6. Now here in verse 9, the frogs are suddenly croaking, hearing the rumbling of the rain clouds, like the brahmanas who are sleeping silently on hearing the acharya of the hearing the call of the acharya, they suddenly start reciting. So here Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that this verse has a negative side of Kali Yuga where atheistic scriptures become prominent. Verse 10 says that rivers are compared to a person who is controlled by the senses. Rivers were first drying up. Then, due to the rains, due to the rains, they get swelled up and they cause disturbances to others by acting independently, as a person is ruled by his senses.
Mataji, you don't have to cover all the verses. Please cover the important ones.
Okay, Prabhuji. So I'll just quickly go to the important one. So here there is a similar comparisons are made with the different aspects of the monsoon season. In slide 8 and slide 9 and 10. Okay, I directly come to slide 12, verse 19. So in monsoon, the moon is covered by clouds like Jiva is covered by ego. And clouds are lit by moonlight, not moon directly. Like ego is lit by the light of the soul. So clouds increase the clouds are increased by the cool rays of the moon. This is the cause of the moon being covered. So Jiva also gets covered by ego and does not reveal its true nature in Kali Yuga. Okay, so this was an important point. Let's see slide 13, slide 14. Slide 14 has the important verse 23, wherein Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that Indra thinks himself as God and he pours excessive rain that destroys the irrigation walls of the fields. Like a materialistic person destroys dharma in Kali Yuga. This is an important point. And also in verse 24, it says that the clouds impelled by the winds, just like the king is inspired by the priest, give nectarian water for the benefit of all. And the king also fulfills everyone's desire. Slide 15, Krishna's amusement is done in rainy season. So when Vrindavana had thus become resplendent with ripe fruits and lush trees, Lord enters this Vrindavan forest to enjoy with his cows and his cowherd friends and Lord Balrama. And lovingly, these cows, they rush towards the god as he calls them. Their udders are wet with milk due to their excessive love for Lord Krishna. So
If
now,
there are also questions, Mataji, questions to the devotees.
yeah. So what did Krishna see in the monsoon forest? In verse 27, what did Krishna see in the monsoon forest?
In the monsoon forest, Krishna saw the joyful Pulinda woman, the honey pouring down the trees, the waterfalls flowing from the mountains, and far off caves which appeared to be nearby from the echoing sound.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you so much. And what did Krishna do when it rained?
Sometimes Krishna would enter into the caves, caves, and eat the roots of the trees there and fruits.
Enter the cave or the hollow of a tree to play
Yeah.
and eat the roots and fruits. Let us
Fruits.
come to slide 17. So Krishna got food from home, which was sent by Yashoda Maya. Why did Lord eat on a stone plate? Why did Lord eat on a stone plate?
Because it gets, it looks beautiful when the showers come on the stone plate, when the rain falls on the stone plate.
Yeah, it looks
And
beautiful.
he had the food with lot of yogurt. His mother sent a lot of yogurt on it, and then
Yeah.
he ate, and he also ate near the water.
Yeah, correct. Thank you, Mataji. And who made them come together? So the boys, they come together to eat. Who makes them come together?
Balaramji.
Lord Balrama makes them come together as he is Shankarshana. Third one, how did Krishna serve the boys?
He made them sit in rows and he put Balramji in the center and personally served the food and made them eat.
Thank you, Mataji. So here, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that the servants, they would bring food from Lord Krishna's house to the place called Chak. And even today, people can see that eating place on the banks of a kunda. Okay. Now verse 30-31. So like this, Lord observes the beauty and opulence of Vrindavan during monsoons and offered respects to this season. So now let us come to the description of autumn. So while Krishna Balram were living in Vraja, having such adorable pastimes of monsoon, which season comes with more treasures? Autumn season, the fall season comes. It is filled of more and more treasures. So in autumn, the autumn comes with cloudless sky, very clear waters, gentle wind, like a and the lotus is bloomed, just like devotional services, just like devotional service purifies the heart and Krishna appears. So autumn is compared to devotional service, lake is compared to heart, and Krishna appearing is compared to a lotus. Come to slide 20. So now here, autumn is bhakti. Autumn season is devotional service, which is bhakti. It takes away which 4 impurities? Archana Mataji.
So took away the 4 impurities, sky, beings, earth and water.
Yeah, sky, beings, earth and water. Okay, I will not get into the details of this, which also frees one from the Varnashrama system. Okay, we go to slide 21. Okay, now when the clouds are filled with water and they are covered with, the dark clouds are covered with sun rays, the material mind of an impure person, it starts to shine from within. And the clouds, they pour rainwater and they become white and they reflect sunshine. So a man who gives up all the material desires and sinful propensities, he becomes purified and he is brightly it is reflected in his own soul in the form of supreme soul within. Now, during this season, the mountains sometimes release pure water and sometimes they do not. Why so? What is it compared to? Verse 36.
The jnanis, they do not disseminate the nectar of knowledge everywhere, like Vedic teachers.
Correct.
They, they do not impart the knowledge of the rites everywhere. So only they give it on an occasion out of mercy. So likewise, the mountains also sometimes release pure water and sometimes they did not.
So they give only to the fortunate souls who have the desire to know. So similar way, in autumn, the clear waters from the mountains flow in some canals only. Okay, let's go to verse slide 22, which is a kind of a repetition with similar examples. So I'll proceed further. Okay, so in with the arrival of autumn, the ocean and the lakes, they become silent, and the tapasvi, the sage, he detests from the material activities, and he gives up his recitations of mantra. The yoga practitioner, they bring their senses under control, and the farmers, they erect strong mud banks to channelize the water within the fields so that they do not drain off. And verse 24, the autumn moon revives all the creatures of from the suffering, and as the wisdom relieves a person from misery, and the autumn sky shines brightly. Okay, so here the full, like Lord Krishna is shining as a moon, and because he is the Lord of the Yadu dynasty and he is shining brightly on earth. So with this, everybody's suffering is released. But why, whose suffering is increasing more? Why who is still suffering and why?
Thieves,
Sorry?
thieves.
The gopis, except for the
gopis.
gopis,
Gopis,
their hearts are
gopis.
destroyed by Krishna, and therefore they
Correct.
are
Oh,
suffering.
sorry. Yes, I'm wrong.
The gopis are burning in the fire of separation from Krishna. So while everybody's heart is content and everybody is relieved from the heat, gopis are suffering. Okay. And the cow, so again, the beauty of the Vrindavan comes back, the animals and everybody is fertile, and the cows and the women, they are fertile. And this is just like the activities are performed for the service of Lord, for the beneficial, these are the beneficial results. Now the autumn sun rises, all the lotuses are blooming happily, except one. One lotus is not blooming happily. Which is this one? And what is it compared to?
Night
Rajgopal?
blooming kumud.
Night
Just
blooming lotus.
Yeah, night blooming kumut.
Compared to the thieves.
Yeah, it is compared to the thieves because there's a strong king has come and they cannot steal anymore. So we complete this lesson with now what happens is the festival starts in Vrindavan, the sacrifice of Nava Anna. What is Nava Anna?
New harvested grains. Anna means rice, basically.
Yeah.
Nava means new.
Correct. So the people offer new harvested grains to the deities in the temple. And so the people like merchants and kings and students who were now, due to rains confined, till now who were confined to the house, they come out and they start their work, as in they go back to the duty of attaining the desired goal. And finally, a devotee, he strives to attain the highest goal, which is to associate with the eternal associates of God and attain the highest goal of life. So here we see the elaborate description of monsoon season and autumn season, which are gradually setting up a stage for the Ras Leela. And today, Sharad Prabhuji will do lesson 54 about the Venu Geetam. Hare Krishna. Over to you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. I'll just share this slide. Today and tomorrow, we'll be covering chapters 21, 22, and next weekend, 23. Now, 21 is about Venu Geet, the song of the flute or the gopis, how they glorify the song of Krishna's flute. This is actually the Purva Raga of the married gopis like Radhika. And tomorrow we'll see how Krishna steals the garments of the unmarried gopis. This present chapter is very, very interesting. Please hear very carefully. Hearing Sri Krishna playing his Venu Geeta in the forest of Vrindavan, the young gopis in the village began glorifying amongst themselves his unparalleled beauty, character, and activities. This is a beautiful picture. Okay, let us go on to the next. This is very, very interesting. I am just giving the themes as given on the top. You heard that this verse, Baraha Pidam Natavaravapu Karnayo Karnikaram Vibrat Vasa Kanakapisam Bayanting Chamalam Randran Benadara Sudaya Goparunder Bandaranga Swapadaramanam Pravisad Gita Kirti. Wearing a peacock feather ornament upon his head, blue karnikar flowers on his ears, a yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vaijayanti garland, Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental forms as the greatest of dancers as he entered the forest of Vrindavana, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the coward boys sang his glories. This verse, fifth verse, we'll see in detail slightly later when we come in the sequence. The summary is all the moving, non-moving living beings take on the characteristics of moving creatures, and the moving living beings become stationary. This is what is the beauty of Krishna's Venu. The non-living beings, they take the characteristics of moving creatures because it is not that they move from one place to another, but they listen, they are able to listen to the Venu Geet, which Krishna is singing in his flute, and they are experiencing the various sentiments, and the moving living beings, they just become stationary. We'll see in detail about all these things. Now, this has got three themes. Now, first is understanding Krishna's autumn entrance in Vrindavana forest. The young gopis glorifying Krishna's unparalleled beauty, character, and activities. These are given in verses 1 to 8. Then the 9th verse, this is also very, very important verse, says the gopis envy of the flute. Why the gopis, they are envious of the flute? What auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips and leave only a taste for us gopis for whom that nectar is actually meant. And the last part, what an amazing impact of Venu Geetam in the verses 10 to 20. Now, before this, let me just tell you certain things about Venu Geeta. Now, what is happening here, after describing the features of the autumn season in Vrindavan, Sukadeva Goswami is trying to describe Krishna's pastimes in the autumn season. And the best part of the autumn season is Lord Krishna's playing of flute, which Sukadeva Goswami reserved for the end to be described. Now, please remember that we are talking of Venu Git, only Venu, but there are three types of flutes which Krishna plays. One is Venu. Venu is it is very small, not more than 6 inches long, with 6 holes for whistling. And Murali is about 18 inches long with a hole at the end and 4 holes on the body of the flute. And this produces a very, very enchanting sound. And Bamsi is about 15 inches long with 9 holes in it, in its body. Now, please remember, Murali and Bamsi, they are in the feminine gender. Now, Venu, that is in the masculine gender. Now, you may ask how Krishna carries this Venu, which is in the masculine gender, in the Nibrut Nikunja, where only Krishna and Radha are there. This will be cleared in slide 14. I'll not say anything about it now. Now, Krishna would play on any of these 3 flutes when they are needed. And Krishna uses the Venu flute to attract the gopis, like Venum Konantam Aravinda Dalaya Takshang, and that is given in the Brahma Samhita. Now, these flutes were sometimes bedraged with the jewels, sometimes they are made of marble, and sometimes of hollow bamboo. And when the flute is made of jewels, it is called Sammohini. And when it is made of gold, it is called Aksarini. Now, when Krishna plays the Venu, he uses 8 tunes. Now, what happens when he blows the first tune? At that time, Lord Brahma and Shiva, when they are in meditation, that is broken, and they forget everything in astonishment. And Lord Anantadeva sways his head like he is in hypnosis. And the second tune makes the Yamuna river flows backwards. Third tune makes the moon stop moving. The fourth tune makes the cows run toward Krishna because they get stunned by listening to the flute. And the fifth note attracts the gopis and makes them come running to him. And the sixth tune makes the stones melt and creates autumn season. And the seventh note manifests all seasons. And the eighth note is exclusively for Srimati Radharani. It takes her name and calls for her, and she comes running to Lord Krishna. Now let us go through this slide. As Krishna, Lord Balrama and their coward friends entered the Vrindavan forest to graze the cows, Krishna began playing his flute. Now in the photograph on the top, you see Krishna with the coward boys and the cows, and down below, how in the pond the lotuses they are blooming. And Sukadeva Goswami here he is saying, thus the Vrindavan forest was filled with transparent autumn waters and cooled by breezes, perfumed with fragrance of lotus flowers growing in the clear lakes. The infallible Lord, accompanied by his cows and coward boyfriends, entered the Vrindavan forest. Now, this Lord Krishna and his friends, they are entering the Vrindavan forest, and the gopis, they would look at them hiding somewhere. Now, what Sridhar Swami is commenting, he entered the forest. In it, the bodies of water were translucid because of autumn. Translucid means semi-transparent. It was followed by wind. This means it was mostly filled by that. And Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami, what they are saying, the forest is described as attractive by its nature, with attractive water and breezes, as an ingredient of his pastimes in one half of the verse. Now, the natural quality of water is clarity and attractiveness, manifested because it was pure. It was pure water, and the wind was cool, blowing gently and fragrant because the lakes are filled with blossoming lotuses in the forest. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, what he is saying, after describing the beauty of the autumn season, Sukadeva Goswami first describes Krishna's entrance into Vrindavan forest, which is decorated with sweetness of autumn, before portraying the pastimes of Krishna's flute song, which is intimately related to it. The wind became fragrant and cool by passing over the lotus-filled lakes. Krishna, along with his cows and covered boys, entered the forest permeated by this sweetly scented breeze. The word Vayuna Vatam means breezes. It's singular instead of plural. The meaning is the breeze was gentle. And the word Madhupati means Madhupati in the next verse it will come is the subject of this verse. If the alternate reading of this verse substitutes the word Vanam for Achyuta, we'll study that verse. Then next. Now, as Lord Krishna, Lord Balrama and their coward friends entered the forest of Vrindavana to graze the cows, Krishna began playing his flute. Flute playing starts. Now the lakes, rivers and hills of Vrindavana resounded with the sounds of maddened bees and flocks of birds moving about the flowering trees. In the company of the coward boys and Balrama, Madhupati is Lord Krishna, entered that forest, and while herding the cows, he began to vibrate his flute. And Sridhar Swami is saying, Krishna played the flute after entering the forest in which the lakes, rivers, and the hills resounded because of multitudes of maddened bees and birds in flowering trees. And Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami, what they are saying, all this too is said as an excellent uddipana of love. The fact that sort of amusement is continual should be perceived. It is continuous.
Makes the interact one. See, notice that when Krishna is there, how he is connecting with all living beings and non-living beings. Non-living beings, even the everything, So it's the birds, bees, they are in lower consciousness, but they also react whenever Krishna is there. So Krishna interacts everything. The nature is completely, in fact, the beautifying of the nature, the season, everything is welcoming Lord Krishna when he enters there, So that is the amazing part that we all need to remember, how Krishna really interacts the birds, bees, animals, trees, clouds, rivers, everyone is really reacting as if they are all living beings and they are like human beings, So that is the beautifying portion of it, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That means when Krishna comes, he brings all his associates. And when Krishna was there in Vrindavana, all these trees, grass, all these insects, animals, the birds, everybody had a transcendental body and they were his associates. They were taking part in his Leela.
It is a Yogamaya preparing all these things, for Krishna's welcoming.
Yes. A continuous description of how he sounded is to be inferred ahead also. The connection is Sa Go Gopalaka Madhupati, the Lord of the Yadus, the Lord of Madhu, with the cows, the covered boys, and Sri Krishna, or to a pastime whose form which ought to be portrayed reached the heart with special emotion. A double meaning is intended, meaning intoxicated at that time and being an intoxicator implied. I will describe this also. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, as Krishna, who is Madhupati, entered the forest with its mountains, lakes, rivers, and overflowing groves, he skillfully blended his flute song with the lovely sounds of Vrindavana, chirping birds and buzzing bees. The word Madhupati means the Lord of the spring, the month of Madhu. The inference is that when Krishna, the personification of spring, entered the forest in the autumn season, the forest became beautiful with spring flowers. Krishna went along with Balrama and the cowherd boys to herd the cows, but it is not mentioned here that they played flutes. Only Krishna played the flute. Therefore, the Venugita, the song of the flute and title of this chapter, comes from Krishna's flute only. Now, what about Madhupati? The Madhus are the Yadavas and the Krishna is their Lord. Then, what is the meaning? Although there is an impossibility of him tending the cows because he is the king, he heads the Yadavas. By doing so, he means to signify a special rasa pleasure beginning from Bhakta Vatsalya. Now, Madhu is a liquor, is a particular intoxicating drink. He is the Lord Krishna is the master of that. It's a double meaning in this way, being intoxicated by Madhu or that liquor at that time and being an intoxicator, both are implied. This is what we saw. Now, what happened? The young gopis then they heard the flute song and privately described his activities to their intimate friends. And although the gopis were far away from Krishna, they could hear his flute due to their love. Although Krishna was in Pauganda age, he manifested Kaisora age and aroused Cupid in the hearts of the young gopis. The autumn beauty of Vrindavana stimulated Krishna to play his flute and thus attract the gopis. Now, please remember that when Krishna plays his flute, he calls each gopi by name. When he plays for the cows, then he calls the cows, each cow by their names. And this sound can only be heard to whom it is meant. Everybody cannot hear it, even though they may be present there. Now, in this verse, let us see, hearing Sri Krishna playing his Venu Geetam, the young gopis began glorifying amongst themselves his unparalleled beauty, character, and activities. They were at a distance. Krishna was not able to see them, but they were able to see Krishna, what he was doing. Now, when the young ladies in the cowherd village of Braja heard the song of Krishna's flute, which arouses the influence of Cupid, some of them privately began describing Krishna's qualities to their intimate friends. And Sridhar Swami, what he is saying, hearing that song of Krishna's flute, because of which there was a rise of Cupid, Poroksha means out of sight, privately, since they were in the village. Now, Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami, what they are saying? They are saying Venu Geetam has a rise due to his love by seeing the kind of water and so on, or due to his remembrance of the Brajagopis, he was also remembering, or because of which there is a rise in lust. Although he has that sort of nature at all times, being such is said due to special playing on account of the origination of his special mood. That-
1 minute, Prabhuji. 1 minute, Prabhuji. The lust, don't misunderstand. Lust is not the kind of material lust, okay? There's a spiritual version of the lust that we are talking about now. And we discuss all this thing in that Ujjwal Nilamani course.
Yes. Consequently, there was also a continuous description of it by those girls right then. Being in the village, they completely heard from afar, since they were made to stay either by Krishna's particular desire or simply by the influence of their emotions. The girls heard Venu Geetam because merely by the touch of Krishna's lips, it automatically came across as a special twist of his cooing. Some women denotes Sri Radha and others who had extraordinary feeling, Purva Anuraga. and not the elderly gopis who were in Vatsalya Rasa. Paroksham means clandestinely only to them without being directly present. Therefore, they only spoke to their friends, such as Lalita. And Jiva Goswami, he comments specially on this verse. He says, because of his distinct cleverness, by the manifestation of an excellent age, his emotions were ablaze also by seeing the plays of the Lakshmi of autumn, and he was showing off his skill in playing a flute to completely affect these girls. And the coward girls began to speak about Krishna, but then they remembered his activities. O king, the power of Cupid disturbed their minds, and thus they could not speak. They were thus beginning to describe his actions, but could not because of the impulse of love with the remembrance of Krishna. They gleamed through his playing of the flute, or what will follow later, belonging to Krishna, who attracts his heart. Now, generally, we know that devotees, they progress from Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajan Kriya, Anartha Nivrutti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, and all the way to Bhava and Prema. But in the spiritual world, there are further developments beyond Prema. Sneha, Mana, Pranaya, Raga, Anuraga, Bhava, Mahabhava. That's why we said Purva Anuraga of Srimati Radharani and all the other the married gopis. In this chapter, we are talking of the married gopis. Tomorrow, we will be talking about the unmarried gopis. Now, love of Godhead or prema increases and it manifests affection, which is sneha, indignation, which is mana, then love, pranaya, then attachment, raga, then further attachment, anuraga, ecstasy, bhava, and sublime ecstasy, that is mahabhava. All these things we have studied in very, very great detail in Ujjvala Nilamani. And when the gopis attempted to describe the song of the flute, they could not do so because their hearts became overcome with strong desires for Krishna, strong desires to see Krishna, because they were at a distance. Will not have. Okay. Now this fifth verse. Barha Pidam Natavara Bapu Karnayo.
This is a very, very important verse. Very, very important verse. Okay. So many implications are there.
Yes, Prabhuji. This one and the ninth verse, they are very, very important. Barha Pidam Natavara Bapu Karnayo Karnikaram Vibhrata Basa Kanaka Kapisang Vaijayantim Chamalan Randhran Benadora Dhara Sudaya Gopa Brunde Vrindaranyam Supadaramanam Pravishat Giti Kirti. You know, we will see the meaning in very great detail as per the description of the analysis of our acharyas. Now, wearing a peacock feather ornament that Krishna always does in his head, a kandikara flower on his ears. We'll see what is the meaning of this. Sanatana Goswami says it is in both his ears, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says in one of the ears. We'll see that. A yellow garment as brilliant as gold, and the Vaijayanti garland. Vaijayanti garland has 5 flowers. We'll see what are the 5 flowers with the different colors. Lord Krishna.
There's a, and if you play that, place that thing, it will show the arrow to where the Karnika flower is there on his ears,
Yes, Prabhupada.
And for a romantic feeling, he will wear one of the ear only,
Yes.
So I'm showing the close-up of this picture. The bigger picture is there on the right side. The close-up of that, just to show that Karnika. And what is a Karnika flower that blooms only the autumn season, and that is especially in Vrindavan, So that flower used to wear there, yellow Karnika flowers. Sometimes different colors are there.
Yes.
So in the first slide, it's mentioned as blue. The Karnika is
exactly.
blue.
There different colors are there too. but here it's a yellow flower it's wearing in this particular picture. The
Lord
verse says
Krishna,
the blue. Yeah.
yes. Lord Krishna exhibited his transcendental form as the greatest dancers as he entered the Vrindavan forest, beautifying it with the marks of his footprints. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar of his lips, and the cowherd boys sang his glories. They were singing. Now, Sridhar Swami, what he is saying, remembrance of Krishna turned out as an agitator, Uddipana, of those young girls' minds, having a
So,
body.
there's a Uddipana. We discuss in Ujjwal Neelamani and other courses. Krishna is a alambana. He is the source of sending this different waves and waves of this excitement. And Uddipana is that excitement, and alambana is Krishna, and Krishna also getting from gopis also. Sometimes they become alambana, and Krishna is getting Uddipana, but mostly it is from Krishna is sending that waves and waves of that special, that kind of love, that is sending that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Having a body that of an excellent, like a dancer's, Natavara Bapu, he entered Brindaranyam, that is Vrindavana forest. How was it? It evoked delight because of his footprints, Swapada Ramanam, which were marked with various distinctive marks. And he whose fame was sung by the cowherders, the Gopa Brande, he was holding a head ornament made of peacock tail feathers, barha, a peacock feather, apidam means as the decoration of his head, with the holes of his flute, randhran, veno, and so on. Playing a flute is fanciful imagine. Indeed, while moving out of the filled flute, the nectar of the lips ought to diffuse like a song. It was coming out as a song. Now, what Sridhar Swami, Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami saying on this verse, assuming a special bhava, Sukhdev Goswami now remembers Krishna's forest colorful dress on that occasion. Remembering just his form rather than his activities, the minds of the girls became so much disturbed that they just could not speak. He had a yellow karnika of flowers shaped like a lotus on each ear, or just one of them. He had two pieces of yellow cloth. In the spring and autumn, these flowers are plentiful and create beauty. He wore Baijayanti Malam, which is made of flowers having 5 colors. He filled the holes of his flute with the nectar from his lips. This means he played the flute with special bhava, which enchanted himself as well as the gopis. It was Yogamaya who controlled that forest in which Krishna entered, Pravisad, and the forest was charming, Ramanam, or gave happiness to all because of his extraordinary footprints everywhere. Or the forest produced rati or attraction for his feet, since it was soft and covered with flower pollen and petals. It was glorified because of his beauty and skills, with songs showing his special bhava. He did not directly name the gopis out of shyness. His gold ornaments and pearl necklaces are not mentioned since he wore them all the time. Now,
One more minute. See the amazing things that when he plays a flute, he sends out that message in the flute, and the person to which he sends, only that person will get that message. Sometimes he will send to the cows, and the names of the cows will be there all in this flute music, And here he's sending special music, a special message to his flute. Even the whole village is listening. But the gopis in the village, especially these young gopis, they are getting this particular feeling that Krishna is transmitting to his flute,
This is what is the specialty of his flute song. Now we spoke about Karnikara flowers. Karnikara flower, this is in Hindi, this is also known as Kanak Champa or Padma Puspa or Paribhyada also, or Muchkunda also. In Sanskrit, this is known as Karnikara or Muchkunda. Now this Vaijayanti Mala, as you said, it consists of, it is made of 5 different colors, 5 types of flowers. Now what are the flowers? Tulasi, Kunda, Mandara, Parijata, Sororuhu. Tulasi, you know it. Kunda is a variety of jasmine. Mandara is also very common, you know it. Now Parijata in Hindi it is known as Harsingar. In Bengali it is known as Cephali. In Odisha it is known as Gangasiuli. And as it blooms at night, many people also called it Raat Ki Rani. The plant is also known as night jasmine and coral jasmine also in English. The Parijata flower is white in color. It has got 8 petals uniformly arranged, and it comes with a sweet light fragrance that fills the surroundings. The fallen flowers render the beauty of the ground. And in India, it blooms in the months of August to November. Then Parijata, then Sororuhu. Sororuhu is the Padma, and that is the lotus flower. That means it has got the 5 types of 5 flowers by Yantimala, and how Krishna is communicating with each gopi, that is also seen. That is also that was described. Then let us go on to the next slide. Now, it is verse 6. O king, when the young ladies in Braja heard the sound of Krishna's flute, which captivates the minds of all living beings, they all embraced one another and began describing it. They were overwhelmed with the sound of the flute when they received it through their ears, because the Cupid had attracted them or influenced them, and that is the transcendental Cupid. Now, what Sridhar Swami is saying, they embraced, that is, while giving a description, they embraced Krishna, the personification of the topmost bliss in every world, by embracing their friends, because they were at a distance, we learned. They were embracing their friends, means they were thinking their friends are Krishna, and they were embracing as if they were embracing Krishna only. Then Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami, all of them with varying degrees of love, or all in a group, began to describe the sounds of the flute, which they had already described him. And they should speak only what was not already mentioned. They continuously described only the sound of the flute, since only that is the contextual topic. They gave a hug which took place due to a contemplation on Krishna, who overwhelmed their hearts, or they embraced one another due to an infatuation arising from a special bhava after thinking about him. Him means Lord Krishna. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, what he is saying, seeing the gopis could not speak. Sukadeva Goswami, being omniscient, began description of Krishna's pastimes according to the mood of their intense love. Krishna was bedecked with a peacock feather and a yellow Karnikara flower on his ears. Karnikara flower is singular, where Karnayo, the ears, it is a dual form. There are 2 ears, but only one Karnikara flower. That is what Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, to indicate that sometimes Krishna wore Karnikara flower on the left ear and sometimes on the right ear to express the intoxication. And some other acharyas, they also say that this was to indicate something to the gopis. Later on also, this is what we are talking of in Purvaraga, but later on, after the gopis have met Krishna and friendship has been established, That time also he was wearing a Karnikara flower, only one of them in the 2 years. This was to indicate the place of their meeting next time. So this is what is the meaning. He wore Vajayanti garland made of flowers of 5 different colors. Thus Krishna's beautiful body looked like best of dancers. Krishna purposefully dressed in an artful way to display his youthful charms in order to incite the romantic desires of the gopis. Since the gopis might have criticized the flute for having holes in it, Krishna filled the holes with the nectar of his lips. Though the flute is non-living, the touch of Krishna, of nectar of Krishna's lips, brought it to life and empowered to madden the 3 worlds. When considering the flute to be dull, lifeless, and unqualified for such work, the vibration exudes from it and from its holes and enters the ears and minds of the Brajagopis. The implication is that the flute vibration makes itself successful in accomplishing its purpose of fully exhibiting the powers by conquering the Brajagopis with Cupid. And now please remember that anything and everything which is associated with Krishna, they are all personified. Even this flute is also personified. But we see this flute as a non-living being. It has got so many of defects, but still then it has got so many good qualities. You will see them in detail in after verse 9 also.
Remember, all this thing is getting us really setting the stage for Rasa Leela. All this thing will be coming there, because there in the midnight, Krishna sends the message through the flute, and the gopis, whatever they are doing, everything left in between, and then rush to the forest. So he had that tremendous power over this flute. And the way he wears this Karnika flower in 1 year, you can imagine. I'm in the man's body, but when I was doing this PowerPoint, the selecting this particular picture, I just could not take my eyes off that picture. How dashingly it looks. So I'm sure that you girls, Matajis, you just imagine how it must be going through. I can only imagine, but even this man's body, I was really affected. I just couldn't take my eyes off.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Now we go into the 7th verse. This will be described in 2 slides. The coward girl said, "Oh friends, those eyes that see the beautiful faces of the sons of Maharaj Nanda are certainly fortunate. As the 2 sons enter the forest, now you may think now, we are talking of Krishna and Balarama. How Balarama can be also be known as son of Nanda Maharaj? All the things we will see. Now 2 sons enter the forest surrounded by their friends, driving the cows before them. They hold their flutes to their mouths and glance lovingly upon the residents of Vrindavana. For those who have eyes, we think there is no greater object of vision." Sridhar Swami, what he is saying, the sight of a dear one is the prize only for those who have eyes. We don't have. The prize is the faces which are served only by through whom the faces are continuously drunk of Rama and Krishna, who with their companions are making the animals enter the forest. How are their faces? Why they are saying they don't have eyes? Because they are not directly seeing them. Indirectly they are seeing, hiding from somewhere. They are playing a flute that continuously remains present and form which there is an emission of affectionate sidelong glances. Krishna is very famous for his sidelong glances, and also the gopis. The faces are served by these through whom they are continuously drunk is the pride of the 2 eyes of those who have eyes. Now Sridhar Swami, Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami, they are saying their pain arising from lack of satisfaction from deep prema, which is their very nature. Though it is not suitable that Balrama be described, when describing Krishna's flute attracting the gopis mentioned above him adds special beauty. The price of those by whom his face is continuously drunk by means of drinking the nectar of his lips is exactly that. The very fact of continuously drinking it, here continuously, this verse is very, very famous, and the Acharyas have commented quite the long comments on this. Akshanavatam phalamidam na paramang vidam. We don't know any greater object of vision for those who have eyes. Now, common for all means what? The Gopis said that Krishna is the object of vision of not only the Gopis' eyes, but for everyone who has eyes, including the birds and the beasts. And the conviction is the Gopis wanted to say, if you simply remain in shackles of family life in the material world, what will you get to see? The Creator has granted us eyes, so let us see the most wonderful thing, that is Krishna. Today, let us give up family tradition, shyness, self-control, and let us see, touch, hear, and smell Him. They wanted to reach Him because the Cupid, as we learned earlier, had already affected them. And what is the confidential love? By saying the sons, the gopis include Balarama also, just to generalize their feelings and hide their exclusive emotions for Krishna. But in reality, it was Krishna who was playing the flute while turning back to shower his sidelong glances at the gopis. And being a younger brother, Krishna was behind Balarama and he was following him. And let us go to the next slide. The coward girl said, "Oh friends, these eyes that see the beautiful faces of the sons of Nanda are certainly fortunate." And these two sons entered the forest surrounded by their friends, driving the cows before them. They hold the flute to their mouths and glance lovingly upon the residents of Vrindavana. For those who have eyes, we think there is no greater object of vision. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, his comments now we'll see. Only goal in life is the mind, that is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is the thinking. Only goal in life is the Brajagopis. Their only goal is to get nearer to Krishna, to see Krishna all the time and never be separated from him. Who being attracted by the nectar shower from Krishna's flute. How it has arisen? Because they have heard Krishna's flute. They ran out of their houses. And those sweet words repeated here enables us to relish that nectar also. The gopis meant to say, oh friends, if you simply remain in the cycles of family, if you remain inside the house, inside this material world, what will you ever get? You will not get anything else, because the Creator has granted us the eyes. So let us see the most wonderful thing in this world, which is Krishna. We should see him. The gopis were aware of their mother-in-law, sister-in-law might hear their romantic words, but disapprove. So to hide their true feeling, they said Akshanavatam, means of those who have eyes. Phalam means to see Krishna is the goal of the persons and not only ourselves. That means anybody who has eyes, he should see Krishna. That is, it included all the birds, animals, everybody. We will see about the animals also, the deer also. That thing will come up later. And that is the superficial meaning. But the hidden implication is those faces give us bliss to everyone in Vrindavan forest, even to the birds and the beasts, but not to us staying in our houses far away. Vasudeva said to Krishna in the 10th canto, 5th verse, O Nanda, my son Balrama thinks of you as his father. So that means that is the context in which it is being said that both Krishna and Balrama, they are the sons of Nanda Maharaj also. And as you know, Balrama with his mother, they were staying with Nanda Maharaj. Now also Sukha said, Balrama offered respects to his parents Nanda and Yasoda, and they blessed him. In the 65th chapter, when they meet Krishna and Balrama, they meet Devaki and Vasudeva. That time it happened. By such statement, not that time.
Vasudeva, Yashoda.
When Krishna, when Nanda had gone to Braja to give taxes to Kamsa, and he met him. That time he said, "My son Baladeva, he is being raised by you and your wife, Yasoda Devi. They consider you as he considers you as your father and mother. He is living very peacefully in your home with his real mother Mohini." That's what was the talk in the 65th chapter. And by such statements, therefore, Balrama was commonly known as Nanda's son. Therefore, in this verse, the gopis describe Balarama as Nanda's son. The word Bhaktram means faces can mean that the face amongst the two of them, which was turning back, Anuvenu Justam, means possessed of flutes, playing the flute. The word Va with Nipitam, to drink the intensity, also indicates seeing, touching, hearing, smelling, or tasting that face that is of Krishna. If the alternate reading Vai is used instead of Va, it means certainly they taste. In other words, the gopis are saying those who give up all shyness and steadiness to drink the nectar of the face playing the flute among the two sons herding cows in the forest along with their friends have fortunate senses and not others. Therefore, we intend to say, today let us abandon all family traditions, shyness, self-control. And another gopi said, yes, let us see, touch, hear and smell Krishna. But how is it possible since we are so shy? One gopi said, that face releases sidelong glances, kataksha moksham, upon anyone who becomes lovingly attracted, anurakta to him. Krishna will search you out and release the arrow of his enchanting glance, sidelong glance. When it strikes, you will become agitated with love, forget all your shyness and abandon your self-control. Then you will look without shyness on that face. Now, all these gopis, they were talking like this in his absence, that is, they were seeing Krishna from a distance. Let us go to the next slide, we will not have break. Now, dressed in a charming variety of garments, upon which their garlands rest, and decorating themselves with peacock feathers, lotuses, lilies, newly grown mango sprouts, and clusters of flower birds, Krishna and Balrama shine forth magnificently among the assembly of the coward boys. They look just like the best of dancers appearing on a dramatic stage, and sometimes they sing. Now, Sanatan Sridhar Swami is saying the other ladies they speak, the two of them whose attire is emerging with two garments, blue and yellow, blue by Balrama and yellow by Krishna. They are gently touched in various spots by colorful garlands of mango shoots and so forth. Within the assembly of cowards, both of them were exceedingly charming. How amazing is the coward's great fortune. Now they were praising the fortune of the cowards who were with Krishna. Now Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami, what they are saying, wondering whether they should reveal their true emotions by double meanings, they conceal their emotions with great attention in their second verse. Because of intense feeling of love, they can no longer conceal that love in verse 9. In verse 10 and thereafter, they can conceal their love to some degree. They were decorated on their heads with branches of flowers within which were placed mango birds and peacock feathers. In their ears were the inner portions of water lilies, and in their right hands were clay lotuses. They had garlands over their clothing, and in this way they were attractively dressed. And they were like two dancers in the dancing arena. And this indicates that they would also dance and express their joy at will, and that even the other cowards would play instruments and dress skillfully. Otherwise, dancing would not be so beautiful. They were all more splendid here than in Braja, because in Braja they could not sing and dance, or there is gradual development in the first 5 verses, 7 to 11, that the gopis speak. Now, the intention of the previous verse was the cowherd boys had success for their eyes since they could see Krishna at that time. The present verse expresses not only do they see him, but they experience happiness by singing and dancing amidst the group where the two are present. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, one gopi said, but how will you deal with this disgrace? We would not go. A second gopi replied, no, we should go anyway. The first gopi said, because Krishna is with Balrama, our motive is going will not be fulfilled. The second gopi replied, therefore, while remaining concealed, we can peer through the leaves of the creepers and taste the nectar of Krishna's beauty, hear his singing, and see him dancing. Then we can quickly return home. And that is the intention of this verse. Decorating themselves with tender mango leaf sprouts, peacock feathers, and bunches of flowers in their hair, lotus buds over their ears, a play lotus in the right hand, and a garland around the neck, and wearing sewn garments colored red, yellow, black. All this like an actor. Krishna and Balrama look like the best of dancers, arrayed in colorful dresses. Krishna and Balrama danced along with the boys and sometimes sang, and themselves singing. They can also mean that Krishna and Balrama were satisfied with the singing of others who were praising them. Or it can also mean that Krishna and Balrama were proud, their own singing. No one in the three worlds can sing like us. Who are you insignificant coward boys? That means all these the cowherd boys, Krishna and Balrama, they used to sing and dance in the forest. And Balrama was the white with blue dress, and Krishna was blue with yellow dress, and with lovely peacock feathers in their hair along with the gems. They appeared to be wearing a small portion of a cloud accompanied by constellation and a rainbow. And the gopis felt the Gopas are able to see Krishna and experience the joy of singing and dancing. They are very, very fortunate. But the gopis are unfortunate since they cannot freely associate with Krishna due to fear of public opinion. Now the gopis desired to go to the forest, concealed and peer through the creepers and see Krishna and Balrama dancing. And the gopis thought that the Krishna's makara earring kisses his cheek, his flute tastes the nectar of his lips, his garland embraces all his limbs. The flowers, pearls, and diamonds do not leave his chest, but we, the gopis, we are far away from Krishna. We are not able to enjoy that experience. Now let us go on to the next slide. My dear gopis, what auspicious activities must the flute have performed to enjoy the nectar of Krishna's lips independently and leave only a taste of us gopis for whom that nectar is actually meant. This nectar is actually meant for us, but it is being enjoyed by the flute. Now the forefathers of the flute, the bamboo trees, shed tears of pleasure. His mother, the river on whose bank the bamboo was born, feels jubilation, and therefore her blooming lotus flowers are standing like hairs on the body. Now Sridhar Swami, what he is saying, the other ladies speak, hey gopis, this flute did not did what meritorious act? Why do you ask? Because it enjoys independently by its own will the nectar of Damodar's lips, though that nectar should be enjoyed only by the gopis. How does it enjoy in such a way that the full rasa remains? Because the river whose water the flute was nourished and which are similar to mothers seems to have goosebumps by the tricky appearance of groves of blooming lotuses. The trees in whose lineage the flute was born are shedding a tear, and by the tricky appearance of flow of sap, such like family elders, horrified upon seeing a servant of the Lord in their own lineage and shed a tear. And Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami, what they are saying, what to speak of the coward's fortune? What can we say of the flute's good fortune? The gopis express their desire mixed with envy while imagining falsely because of madness produced by the appearance of Mahabhava. Only Srimati Radharani has that. Though it appears to us to be a dry piece of wood, that is the flute, how many pious acts has this flute performed in his previous life? We will also do such pious acts for that purpose to get such a benefit. Small means certainly indicates their dismay. The characteristics of the flute is described, beginning with the words Yat Abhesita Rasam, means from whom the remaining the test only. By addressing Krishna as Damodara, they suggest that he and they had a special natural relationship which started from early childhood with the first sprouts of their present emotions. Therefore, we gopis should enjoy with him. They are comparing themselves with the flute. Now, we spoke about the joys of the flute's parents. The bamboo trees are considered the forefathers of the flute because it is made of them. In guise of releasing sap or honey, the trees are crying tears of ecstasy that their descendant became an exalted devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna. And the river is considering the flute's mother because the bamboos are grown on her bank. And in joy, the river, the blooming lotuses are standing like hairs on their body. Go to the next slide. Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami, what they are saying, the flute is male and thus unsuitable to enjoy with them. The flute always drinks the nectar of his lips as its only enjoyment. Since we do not see it enjoying anything else, we see that after associating with Damodara's lips, the lips are still juicy, not dried up, because therefore the flute did not enjoy the lips at all. No, what remains now is only a test. It drank the nectar completely and left only a trickle for us, the gopis. O gopis, therefore the flute's birth is fortunate and not our birth. Why were you gopis born? Instead of saying our, they say of the young gopis. And this indicates, though others may enter into their group, they are not qualified for his lips, since they do not have the special qualification of the gopis. They say this out of their identity as gopis and out of special taste for beauty. Therefore, the meaning is that they protect their bodies by aspiring for him alone. And that fruit is not only resides constantly in your lover's hand, heart, and mouth, but enjoys the nectar of his lips without taking your permission. Or how should the fruit enjoy? It does not leave any remains at all. And that is another exact opposite of the previous meaning of the avasishta as remaining, not remaining. Not even a drop remains, or because of continuing to have avasishta, that is great attraction, rasa, the flute never ceases to enjoy, or that is the nature of the nectar. Giving up all other rasa the flute enjoys even the rasa remaining for the gopi. The symptoms of the flute, pious acts and are mentioned. Seeing the good fortune of the flute, the rivers, the endowed with great fortune, have their hair standing on end in the form of lotuses blooming, or the remaining rasa can be part of this statement if the word yat does not mean because the rivers taste the remaining rasa of the flute since their hairs are standing on end. Moreover, seeing the good fortune of the flute coming from the same plant family, all the plants release tears of honey. And just as forefathers seeing the good fortune of their family members release tears, another meaning spoken out of hatred appears in this in such a
Prabhuji,
company.
one minute, Prabhuji. You see so many typos here in this slide. Pardon me for that. But this I was working straight in one sitting 24 hours of the day, right? All continuously 24 hours when I was preparing these slides. So you can imagine, I was in that kind of madly in that love with this picture of just a picture of Sri Krishna, and this description, poetic description, I just couldn't stop it while I was working 24 hours. I just couldn't realize that. So all these typos are because of that. Um, you know, just I can't explain that my situation at that time. See, my face is all becoming red. Is because of that.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Now, in the previous slide, we saw how the gopis they are describing Venu, which is in masculine gender. Now we'll see the meaning here in Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's his commentary. This flute has created a problem for us, drowning us in an ocean of disgrace. That is expressed in this verse. And though the words Vamsi and Murali are in feminine gender, the word Venu is masculine. Like the word Dara, a masculine word meaning for wife. That means what auspicious activities Kusalam did the Venu flute perform to become Krishna's wife? It did not do anything auspicious because it took birth as a non-moving creature, a low birth resulting from a lake of piety. Yet the flute drinks the nectar of Damodara's lips, Damodaradhara. Now, how can we tolerate this? No, because it is the gopis' right to test that nectar. And after all, Krishna was born as a gopa and we are born as gopis. Therefore, we have the right to test those lips, not the flute. Furthermore, the flute has the audacity to manifest as male Venu in form of and still enjoy Mukte, Krishna. Moreover, this enjoyment is done without marriage, utterly alone and by thievery. Now the flute then grudgingly announces that the fact to the real owners of the treasure, namely us, by blowing air. It is not just ordinary sound of blowing air. It is the cry of the bliss the flute experiences in associating with Krishna. And we are forced to hear that sound. The flute is enjoying so much that leaves nothing left, not even a morsel. Though we are rightful claimants of the nectar of Krishna's lips, that flute leaves nothing for us, not even his own remnants. And such is his audacity. Others who are devoid of piety also act in the same way. Seeing the flute enjoying the nectar of Krishna's lips, the river becomes happy, blooming with lotuses, standing like hairs on the body. The trees pouring out of their honey seems to be weeping in bliss. Upon hearing Krishna's glories, the devotees shed tears of joy and experience horripilation. Similarly, upon hearing Krishna's flute song, the rivers and trees are also displaying the symptoms of bhava. The rivers are female friends of the flute, and trees are male friends or messengers. Thus, the flute, rivers, trees, are all our enemies. Therefore, where can we hide the fruit? So it does not get the nectar of Krishna's lips. Here the gopis manifest a sanchari bhava of envy, which has arisen from the intense love of Krishna. Now, as you saw, Krishna's flute, it has got so many defects, but still, it has got so many good qualities also. There are many of them, but I'll say just a few of them because lack of time. The contradictions are the flute has got so many full of holes, yet devoid of defects because it causes even rivers to freeze and mountains to melt. And the flute is hard, but softens the heart of the heartless people, and it agitates the body, mind, and the senses. And the flute is dry, but moistens the eyes of those who hear the sound and fills everyone with joy. Let us go to the next slide.
So, Prabhuji, do you remember Brahmar Git? This
Yes,
is
yes.
the gopis are in that kind of Mahabhava, you know that?
Yes, yes.
They imagine all these things actually, what's going on, you know.
Yes.
Radharani, remember that little bee coming there, and she thought that it was the, you know, actually Krishna came there in Krishna's messenger, and she imagines all kind of things like that. So here gopis are imagining all these things, you know, in their prema for Krishna.
Yes, and how nicely our acharyas they have described, gone into such
In a very, very poetic way.
Now in this slide, O friend, Vrindavana is spreading the glory of the earth, having obtained the treasure of the lotus feet of Krishna, the son of Devaki. The peacocks dance madly when they hear Govinda's flute, and when other creatures see them from hilltop, they all become stunned. Now you see, they are also saying son of Devaki, not son of Yasoda, because they also know what is the truth. Now, Sridhar Swami is saying, having observed the dancing of the peacocks that were excited, the gopis were thinking that he was actually a gently rumbling rain cloud. Upon hearing the sound of Govinda's flute, all other beings in it, which were on mountain tops, here and there in groups, ceased their actions. This does not exist in other worlds. So this means it expands the fame of the earth. And Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami, what they are saying, what more can be said about the flute which is held in his hand? The Vrindavana is marked with the footprints that spreads more glory. The gopis call Krishna as the sons of Devaki because the wife of Nanda has two names, Yasoda and Devaki. It is given in the Brihad Vishnu Purana. Also, the gopis refer to Krishna as Govinda, the son of Yasoda, who is surrounded with cowards, boys, and cows. The peacocks dance because they mistaken him for a dark rain cloud. Otherwise, they too would remain motionless like others. His flute playing was the additional cause of peacocks dancing. The others living beings remained stunned on the top of the hill at high places to see the performance. In this way, Vrindavana showed itself superior to Vaikuntha. Now, as you know, Vrindavana is the place of Krishna's pastimes that do not occur in any other world. So, earth is unique. Vrindavana is greater than Vaikuntha because Krishna goes barefoot and directly marks the earth with symbols of his lotus feet. But in Vaikuntha, Lord Vishnu wears shoes. And why did the gopis call Krishna and Devaki? That we knew. And Krishna and the peacocks. Once Krishna played his flute and the peacocks they danced in circle. And Krishna also sang and danced in the middle. The satisfied peacocks gratefully offered their divine feathers to Krishna, who accepted them. The peacocks also danced because they mistake Krishna for dark rain cloud. And what about the other domestic animals? They were stunned totally as the peacocks danced on the tune of Krishna's flute. And the gopis, they lament that Vrindavana, the peacocks, the domestic animals are greatly fortunate, but we are condemned as we cannot see Krishna's shadow even. Next slide. Now, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's his comment on this verse. Vrindavan is spreading the glories of the earth, especially as being better than Swarga, because the earth is marked with the symbols of the flag and thunderbolt from the lotus feet of Devaki Nandana, the son of Yashoda. It is not possible to find the symbols of Krishna's feet decorating the abode of Vaikuntha, nor it is possible to see such a beautiful cow pasturing area there. In Vrindavana, the peacocks ask Krishna, Govinda, please make us dance. Thus Krishna plays his flute and they surround him in a circle and dance madly in time with the rhythm of his melody. And while standing in the midst of their dancing, Krishna also sings and dances. Then these peacocks, who are fully satisfied with his flute recital, out of gratitude, offer for his pleasure their own divine feathers. In the usual manner of musicians, Krishna gladly accepts their offering and places a peacock feather upon his turban. Gentle animals such as deer and doves greatly relish Krishna's transcendental performance and get a good view. They flock to the peaks of hills. Then, as they watch the breathtaking program, they become stunned in ecstasy. And another gopi would say, "O Sakhi, we intensely desire to relish Krishna's dancing, singing, and flute playing, and to see all these fish, deer, doves, and birds assembled on the hill slopes who are becoming stunned in bliss." Let us go on to the next slide. Blessed are these foolish deer, because they have approached Nanda's son, who is gorgeously dressed and is playing on his flute. Indeed, both the dove and the bucks worship the Lord with looks of love and affection. And Sridhar Swami is saying these doves, those animal species, did an homage performed with side looks, that is, sidelong glances, and accompanied with love to hearing the sound of the flute playing on Nanda's son. And Sanatana Goswami and Jiva Goswami saying the dove's inner and sensory functions were confounded to being stunned. Now the idea is the doves enhance the worship. Now Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, what he is saying, the gopi said, hearing the sound of the flute, the doves worship Krishna with their affectionate glances. Then what can be said of the glances that we intelligent beings have given to Krishna? The gopis were thinking as follows: the female deer can approach Krishna along with their husbands, because Krishna is the ultimate object of affection for the male deer. Krishna Sara means the male deer, and also those who take Krishna alone as the object of worship. Basically, what the gopis want to say, those they are able to do this in spite of their husbands being present, but we are not able to do any such thing. That's why they are more luckiest. Now, in the next slide, Krishna's beauty and character creates a festival for women. Indeed, when the demigods' wives flying in the airplanes with their husbands catch sight of him, hear his resonant flute song, their hearts are shaken by Cupid, and they become so bewildered that the flowers fall out of their hairs and bells loosen. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is trying to say, one gopi said, since we are ordinary gopis and Krishna is a gopa from our village, our conjugal attraction for him is natural. Therefore, he is appearing among the human beings, even in demigoddesses become made after Krishna. Then what is so astonishing that we poor earthly women become completely conquered by Krishna's love-laden glances and the nectar of his float, seeing the executed form and sterling qualities of Krishna, we the heavenly women become blissful, their hearts overcome with conjugal desire. Like this, the description goes on. We go to the next slide. Now, using their upraised ears as vessels, the cows are drinking the nectar, the flute song flowing out of Krishna's mouth, the calves, their mouths full of milk from their mothers, moist nipples stand still as they take Govinda within themselves through their tear-filled eyes and embrace him within their hearts. They are embracing Krishna within their hearts. These animals also. And Vishma Chakravarti Thakur is saying, one cannot say that the bewilderment from Krishna's flute song is generated from the conjugal desire of the ladies only, that is the gopis and goddesses. Even dumb animals like cows and their calves are affected by the nectar of Krishna's flute. And this is what is given. The next slide, we will not have a break. We'll go to the next slide. Oh, mother, in this forest, all the birds have risen unto the beautiful branches of the trees to see Krishna with closed eyes. They are simply listening in silence to the sweet vibrations of his flute, and they are not attracted by any other sound.
Read just VCT Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's comments,
Yes,
because
yes.
time is running out. Yeah.
One gopi replied, the calves are dumb animals and have material consciousness, are only tasting the material pleasures. On the other hand, the Atmarama Muni is fixed in transcendental knowledge and they cannot be disturbed by Krishna. And another gopi said, no, this is not true. Krishna also attracts the Munis with his sweetness. Oh, it is supporting mother. Amba, mother is an address to an intimate girlfriend used naturally by young ladies caught up in the loving affection. All these birds resemble Munis because they live in the forest, keep their eyes closed and observe silence and remain motionless and perched on the branches of the trees. They become ecstatic and they listen to Krishna's flute. And go to the next slide. Krishna is so enchanting. He bewilders each and every member of the female gender. Carrying this fact to its extreme, the gopis speak this verse. Rivers are female gender. A gopi said, all the rivers exhibit whirlpools, indicating that their courses have been interrupted by the disturbance of conjugal attraction for Krishna. They stop flowing because towards the ocean, because their ocean, their husband, because they have lost all shyness and self-control. As their excess water swell into the waves, they embrace the lotus feet of Murari, standing motionless on the river bank and holding on to them present offerings of lotus flowers. Go to the next slide. The gopis lament.
Just a Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments,
Yes. The gopis lament to themselves, alas, even those who are in the mood of friendship with Krishna, Sakya Bhava, have perfected their lives by serving him. And out of prema for his friends, Krishna and Balarama, the cloud expanded himself to shield them from the intense heat of the sun. The cloud thinks of himself as Krishna's friend because they are so similar. They both remove distress by downpours of nectar, rasa, and they are both dark blue in color and both exhibit lightning and thunder, which in Krishna's sense manifested as his yellow dhoti and flute flame, identifying with the mood of friendship. The cloud-bed light umbrella with his body composed of a collection of water drops to shield his friend Krishna. In this way, the clouds give pleasure to Krishna, but we do not get an opportunity to please him. Therefore, the gopis' idea is to hell with us. Now,
next slide.
Yes, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is saying, leaving aside the attraction of flute, this verse speaks about the lotus feet of Sri Radha, which have the power by even the slightest contact to induce complete attraction for Krishna and to rise one to the seventh level of prema called Madana in Mahabharata. One gopi said, the Pulinda women have reached the perfection, but we have not. Therefore, we want to know what kind of austerities they have performed. This is the hint, the Gopi's statement about the perfection of the Pulinda woman. The Gopi continued, why are they perfect? They smear their faces and breasts with the kunkuma that has dyed the feet of Krishna. And where did that kunkuma come from? The kunkuma came from the breast of the gopi Krishna was enjoying with, namely Radhika. Though we desire to praise Radhika's good fortune of having such exalted attraction to Krishna, out of shyness we do not even mention her, specifically mention her, though that is intended in kunkuma of Radha due to lust. The Pulindas did not even show it proper respect. What did they do? Upon seeing the grass smeared with kunkuma, which had fallen from Krishna's feet after he had enjoyed with Radha, the Pulindas became lusty. I can't imagine what would happen if they see Krishna personally. Upon seeing Krishna from a distance, the Pulindas developed a great desire to smell the fragrance of Krishna's body. So they smeared the kunkuma from the grass on their faces. Then, with a desire to relish the enjoyment Krishna engaged in, they smeared it on their breasts, thinking that they were being embraced by Krishna. By this action, the pain of their lust was pacified. Indeed, that kunkuma has a special power in it. In all our births, we have not received it even once. In Ujjvala Nilamani, Rupa Goswami describes Madana as follows. The stage of Madana is exalted as the topmost perfection, and it inspires the full-blown manifestation of all loving sentiments, bhavas, all enjoyments of meeting directly with Krishna, and all pleasurable conjugal pastimes exist within Madana. In this very essence of the Hladini Shakti always present in Srimati Radharani, this definition should be applied to the present verse. Thus, the verse indicates that the gopis experienced enjoyment through pastimes with Krishna. Therefore, from the verse 6 of this chapter, it should be understood that the gopis were embraced by Krishna, who suddenly appeared before them, and thus they began speaking like this in this chapter. And the gopis talk among themselves, O Sakhis, without taking shelter of a great devotee, our desire will never be fulfilled. We have heard of Gargi, daughter of Gargamuni, about the glories of Hari's devotees, and that the Govardhana hill is the best amongst them. The purport of verse 18 highlights both Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's quite lengthy description of Govardhana. Paniya refers to there are so many things the Govardhana hill provides, like it provides fruits, roots, water, like this. This being said. And then let us go to the next slide. Okay, next. And furthermore, we should not delay in going to meet the flute player, that is Krishna. Since he is following the cows, he may soon wander off to a distant forest, Anubhanam. And with this idea, the gopis speak this verse, that is verse 19, to indicate that the cowherd boys were in the mood of serving Krishna. The syllable ka is added to the word gopikar. Thus, the word gopikar means indicates that the boys were protecting Gopayanti Krishna with love. Another indication of the word is that every morning they went with Krishna. Mother Yashoda brought them together for this purpose. While Krishna played the flute, they wandered from forest to forest, herding the cows, and this produced a very wonderful scene. What was so wonderful? When the moving living entities heard that flute sound, they became motionless. The non-moving trees adopted the qualities of humans and trembled in ecstasy. And Nirgoya Pasa is the type of noose used to restrain the calves during milking time. Next slide. The gopis attained the platform of being filled with Krishna Tat Mayatam by describing Krishna's flute playing, forest rambling, and cow herding pastimes. The word mita amongst one another infers mita means meeting one another in a secluded place. Thus, following after their boyfriend, the gopis met their beloved Krishna in a private place and actually engaged in different intimate pastimes with Krishna. Then afterwards, the gopis attained a state of Tatmayatam, absorption in ecstatic meditation upon Krishna's pastimes, and attained in transcendental ecstasy, because the gopis say later in the 29th chapter, O lotus-eyed one, from the time you touched our feet with our hands, we could no longer live with our husbands. This is reasonable to say that the gopis enjoyed with Krishna. Now, Sukadeva Goswami, in the last verse, he summarizes the chapter. He says, gopis attained the platform of being filled with the Krishna Prema by describing Krishna's flute playing, the forest rambling and cow herding pastimes. And because the gopis later say, O lotus-eyed boy, from the time we touched your feet of our hands, we could no longer live with our husbands. That's why we want to unite with you. And this is, as Prabhuji said, this is setting the stage for chapter 29 onwards. That is the 5 chapters of Rasa Leela. I have exceeded the time. Thank you very much. Now the session is open for comments and questions. Actually, if you would have gone through the slides, you would understand more. I hope you have done so. Hare Krishna.
Good job, Prabhuji. Very difficult job, but you did wonderful. No questions. Everybody's stunned. Everybody's stunned.
Everybody is stunned like the gopis.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. So wonderful class Prabhuji. So long description of our Acharya.
ये इसके लिए आंखें चाहिए, भाव चाहिए, इसको एंजॉय करने के लिए, really सुनने के लिए वो कान चाहिए.
Yes Prabhuji, very true. प्रभुजी वो चीज मुझे बहुत अच्छी लगी जो डियर और शी डियर दोनों